Good morrow to you, and welcome to the Baron's News Desk, covering the latest happenings and goings-on in the world of tabletop card gaming. With all 254 cards from the Theros Beyond Death set now spoiled, we can examine the entire set list as a whole. I have reviewed every mono-colored card in the set, and in this video I shall detail my list of 15 mono-colored cards that I believe have universal applications in the Commander format that you will likely want at least one copy of in your collection. Cards not included are those that have very specific functions. For example, the Constellation archetype that requires you to play many enchantments. These are really only going to be played in enchantment-heavy Commander decks. Nor will I be covering reprints. Cards such as Idyllic Tutor and Grey Merchant of Asphodel are certainly amazing cards, and you should own at least one copy of each in your collection, but I will simply be covering the new cards to the set. Let's begin with the black cards. Erebos, Bleak-Hearted. For 3 and a black, it is a 5/6 legendary enchantment creature god. It has Indestructible. As long as your devotion to black is less than 5, Erebos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. Pay 1 and a black. Sacrifice another creature. Target creature gets -2/-1 until end of turn. This is simply a universally good card. You are likely going to be sacrificing creatures in most black decks that you play, so this will allow you to get some additional value. Unless you're playing a very specific archetype that does not require sacrificing creatures in black, Erebos should fit into most of your decks with black. Omen of the Dead. For 1 black, it is an enchantment. It has Flash. When Omen of the Dead enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Pay 2 and a black. Sacrifice Omen of the Dead to scry 2. Returning a creature from your graveyard to your hand at instant speed certainly has application. And the fact that it will be an enchantment grants you an additional black pip for your Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which you will also likely be running in your black deck. And if you ever need to sink some mana later in the game, you can pay that 2 and a black to scry 2. Drag to the Underworld. For 2 black, it is an instant. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to black. Destroy target creature. Having those 2 black pips on the board should be rather easy to achieve, therefore this spell will essentially be black for instant speed, destroying a target creature. Instant speed targeted removal is certainly valuable in the format, therefore, even if you don't have a deck where this goes into right away, it certainly is no skin off your back to have one in your collection ready to go. And the final black card, Funeral Rites. For 2 and a black, it is a sorcery. You draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. It's simple, it's to the point, and its generic applications should fit many of your black decks. Now we shall examine the green cards. Naiad, Keen-Eyed. For 3 and a green, it is a 5/6 legendary enchantment creature god. It has Indestructible. As long as your devotion to green is less than 5, Naiad isn't a creature. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. For 2 and a green, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. An indestructible enchantment that reduces the casting cost of your creatures and gives you potential card draw later in the game is certainly useful in most green decks. Naiad's Intervention. For X green, it is a sorcery. Choose 1. Search your library for up to X land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Naiad's Intervention deals twice X damage to each creature with flying. The ability to search for any land cards in your deck, for example, the combo of Dark Depths and Thespian Stage, could be quite potent. And finally in green, Dryad of the Elysian Grove. For 2 and a green, it is a 2/4 enchantment creature nymph. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. Not only is this land ramp, this could also be used as the other half of the combo with Cabal Coffers to make all of your lands swamps. Oh, as if Golgari needed any more help in the format. And now the blue cards. Thassa's Intervention. For X blue, it is an instant. Choose one. Look at the top X cards of your library. Put up to 2 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Counter target spell unless its controller pays twice X. Now there's very good reasons why cards such as Cryptic Command fetch such a high price tag. The ability to either choose between card draw or counter spell is quite frankly one of the most powerful cards in blue. Thassa's Intervention is certainly a variation on this theme and would slot well into most blue decks. Thassa's Oracle. For blue, it is a 1/3 creature merfolk wizard. When Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. With the passing years, library manipulation is becoming more and more potent within the Commander format. Even without the alternate win condition, Thassa's Oracle will work in most of your blue decks. And having this ability on a creature means that you can repeatedly use it on many of your bounce and flicker effects. Whirlwind Denial. For 2 and a blue, it is an instant. For each spell and ability your opponents control, counter it unless its controller pays 4. While this likely does not draw the eye to most casual Commander players, competitive EDH players will certainly see the value of this counter spell up front. Having another Flusterstorm type ability at your fingertips should help you ensure that you are maintaining control of the table. And the good cards keep on rolling in for blue. Thirst for Meaning. For 2 and a blue, it is an instant. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an enchantment card. Those of you familiar with the power of the card Thirst for Knowledge will see that it is practically identical, save for the fact that you must discard an enchantment instead of an artifact. Even if you are not playing enchantments in your deck, this is still a staple as you can play this powerful ability at instant speed. And finally for blue, Naiad of Hidden Coves. For 2 and a blue, it is a 2/3 enchantment creature nymph. As long as it's not your turn, spells you cast cost 1 generic less to cast. And if there's any color that revels in casting cards on other players' turns, it is certainly blue. Now we come to the red cards. Or should I say, card as there's only one. Underworld Breach. For 1 and a red, it is an enchantment. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost, plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. Ah yes, this is another unorthodox method of trying to give red some type of card advantage without straight card draw. Its powerful symbiosis with the graveyard certainly makes this a shoo-in for the Rakdos colors. But there are certainly applications when paired with the other colors as well. And finally we come to the white cards, or again I should say only single card because there's really only one I believe that would work in most white decks. Heliod's Punishment. For 1 and a white it is an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Heliod's Punishment enters the battlefield with 4 task counters on it. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. It loses all abilities and has tap to remove a task counter from Heliod's Punishment. Then, if it has no task counters on it, destroy Heliod's Punishment. While we have seen these type of effects before, we should know at this point that the best way to deal with opponents' creatures is to not kill them, not attempt to exile them, but to neutralize them. Slapping Heliod's Punishment on an opponent's commander will certainly hurt a lot more than something like, say, a Path to Exile, in which they could return it to the command zone and subsequently play it again. Putting an opponent's commander out of commission for 4 turns for only 1 and a white is certainly a good bargain. When you are ready to procure these cards, please use my affiliate link for TCG Player in the description to let them know that the Baron sent you. And now, commoners, I turn to you. What are your thoughts? Are there any mono-colored cards in Theros Beyond Death that you believe are staples that were not mentioned here? Be sure to like and subscribe and view many of my entertaining and informative videos here on Aristocards. Until next time, cheers!